What up, everybody? This is episode 115 of the Fire This Time podcast. Happy to have y'all here with me. My name is Sunny. Here are my co-hosts. I'll let them introduce themselves. What's up, y'all?
What's up? Peace. I'm anti-G.
What's up, y'all? Slank.
Sir, we got a lot to talk about, y'all. One big topic we're going to tackle, our brother Slank had a kind of a viral tweet the past few days talking about the ADL having a history of calling the Buy Black initiatives common in our community anti-Semitic. So yeah, that's right. If y'all ever felt inspired to buy black, the ADL called that anti-Semitic. So we're going to get into all that. Also going to talk about the Israel and Iran war. Really the genocidal war that Israel and the U.S. is perpetuating in the region, and also some other stuff. But before we get into all that, I'll pause for a second, pass it to Aki to G to welcome y'all for real, and then we'll get going.
Well, as normal, y'all. Thank you for coming back to see us. It's been a little while, but we've been taking a break, doing some things, getting some stuff organized, just to be able to come back and give you what we need to give. Definitely always remember, like, share, subscribe, and also leave a comment. If it's something that you're thinking about, something that you think is necessary for us to talk about, or you want to comment on one of the shows we do, say something. And we'll get back to you on that, or possibly even mention it in the show. With that, give it back to Sunny.
Gonna start things off with this week's fire. We got to mention Nation Time Volume 4 from me and Slank. You know what I'm saying? Slank, how you feeling about the new project we just dropped? You know what I'm saying? What you've been hearing about it? I'll pass it to you first, Slank.
I think it's a solid evolution of the Nation Time series. So far, people seem to be, responding positively to it. Heard a lot of good things about songs like Four Season, No Vacancy, Far Away, you know what I'm saying? So definitely go check Nation Time 4 out on all the streaming platforms and everything right now. Me and Sunny.
Yeah, we got to
liking that artwork right there.
Oh yeah,
I drew that artwork.
I drew the what's it called? The M16 guitar as a homage, and Peter Tosh used to play one of them back in the old days.
Yes, that's my favorite reggae artist.
Yeah, he's one of the great roots reggae, real. You know what I'm saying? Like revolutionary reggae music. He used to, play a guitar that looked like an M16, and we thought that was a really good symbol for music as a tool in the revolution, in the struggle. So
yeah, that's what's up, man. Rest in power to Peter Tosh. And I definitely know, what I'm saying, got a chance to sneak peek some tracks. So, what I'm saying, it's definitely, every time I hear another Nation Time, it gets different. It's never the same. It's the same in quality of lyrics and production. I won't say that because the lyrics be stepping up and the production be stepping up. Y'all just be venturing and doing stuff. So, the last 3 was classics, and this volume set, I don't know how many volumes y'all plan on doing, but it's definitely worth peeping out. Because every time one come out, I always have it in the rotation anyway. So that'd be my workout music.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you saying that, Aki. I will say, Aki, last year while we was making it and I was making them trips back and forth, you know what I'm saying? Seeing you often, I would play the tracks as we was working on them. You know what I'm saying? You was always giving me that feedback, letting me know, like, yo, what y'all got here is special. Make sure you treat it that way. So I appreciate that early feedback, Aki, for sure.
Word.
But yeah, now we gonna hope y'all get to dig into that. You know what I'm saying? If you have digged into it, make sure you share it with a friend. You know what I'm saying? Also, check out the interview that we did with Rakim on Wise the Dome TV. Slank and I was on there. We had a real good interview, not just about the music, but about a whole, host of different, things going on. So yeah, make sure you check that out for sure. But yeah, to keep things moving, y'all, got to keep things moving. As many of our listeners know, I'm sure, potentially World War III has begun kicking off. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of, different places we could begin our coverage of this. But let me start here. You know what I'm saying? I know we're kind of starting in the middle here. But in the midst of this, war, with Iran, as well as Palestine, and on one side, and Israel and the United States on the other. In the midst of all this, we know we've had the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei, and now the Iranian people have decided, through their own mechanisms, to elect the next leader, his son, also Khamenei, to that position. So, I see this as an act of, defiance. Trump has already, came out and spoke about, how, he doesn't approve of this election. So pretty much, threatening, that he's going to eliminate this guy too. But yeah, before I say too much, I'm gonna pass it to y'all. Any comments on, the war overall, where, Iran is right now in the struggle? I know we're kind of, we haven't had many episodes the past, few months that really cover this from the beginning. But yeah, gonna check in with y'all.
I mean, I do know, far as the past supreme leader, it was brought to him before, from what it said about his son taking the leadership, and at the time he was like, no, because he didn't want the leadership of Iran to be a hereditary thing. But his son had a lot of people that supported him having that position. So, I definitely know Trump probably does not favor him. He said he doesn't favor him. But who really cares what Trump thinks in this situation? He already breaking crime. He already is committing crimes against humanity. So, and that being the case, he's the leader that the people chose. The people chose him. The people want him. So, and they have to do what they have to do, because, these, bullshit ass attacks that they threw out at Iran, it took out a lot of the cabinet, so they're trying to rebuild a government in resistance, so that's a different little program right there.
Yeah, I know. Slank, I want to pass it to you. I know before the episode you asked me to put, the song about Vic Mensa and his support for regime change. We're gonna get to that, but I want to pass it to you. Can you explain maybe to the viewers, this idea that feminism does have a role to play in justifying this regime change or this intervention, in Iran? We see it a lot. We've seen a lot this past week. And there's some videos I can play that's been going around too about the actual street level reaction. But go ahead and set that up for us, Slank.
Basically, yeah, like a lot of the justification you see coming out of the West for regime change is rooted in Iranian women are oppressed. The men in Iran, oppress the women. They even go as far, they don't like the religion of Islam. They say it's oppressive in itself, and that, Iran needs to be liberated, I guess, through the U.S. bombing little girls' elementary schools like they did the other day. That's, so the U.S. builds up this justification of, using feminism as a reason they need to go in and liberate the women of Iran from the men. And then one of the first acts of warfare that they use is bombing girls' schools, bombing a gym that had 20 volleyball players in it, like things like that. So, they're bombing, they're feminist bombs, I guess, but it's not, it's just bullshit. And it's really like kind of a justification because they really want access to the Iranian women. You see a lot of soldiers making TikToks and shit about how they can't wait to, get over there and see the Iranian women and do all this shit to them. And it's just fucked up. So like, and it's part of colonialism. You know, we talked about before. How Fanon wrote about that in Algeria Unveiled, about the
Mm-hmm.
colonizer. Uh, just wanted to have access to not only the resources of the country but the women of that country, and kind of pitting the women against the men as part of a divide and conquer technique of
Yeah.
warfare. And uh, and one other thing about I know y'all mentioned earlier the son taking over, and how the dad Kamini didn't want his son to be the ruler. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to make it look like hereditary. I've already seen articles coming out of like uh, it's probably on Yahoo News or something earlier, talking about how like Iran has now taken off the mask of republicanism, and it's just a full fledged dictatorship now, hereditary monarchy, all this shit. And I'm thinking like we had how many Bushes was president?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We had the Clintons running for president after each other. Every president in America is apparently cousins or something weird like that. I read somewhere. So like, yeah, they already going with that angle, and it's just some warfare propaganda shit to make it look like Iran's the oppressive actor in this, when in fact the whole reason behind this war, and they even been openly saying it, is they don't want a country that's not white people to have a nuke. The same weapons that they're allowed to have, that Israel has plenty of, that America has plenty of, they can't stand the idea of a non-Western aligned, you know what I'm saying, Islam country, Muslim country having a nuke, and so they're going to nuke them, uh, I guess, to prevent them from that. But yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think that we're just real quick, and I think the whole thing around the nuke is the fact that that nuke would protect Iranian sovereignty, right? And like it's like, so the problem is not just Iran having a nuke; it's Iran being able to defend itself from any type of intrusion. And I think because that gets in the way, I think and I'm sure you agree with this, but these things of Jewish supremacy, white supremacy, and the vision they have, from going back to what they draw from, whatever religious tradition, you know what I'm saying, the vision they have for this region of the world, what I'm saying, is definitely laden with these supremacist beliefs. I just want to get that in there real quick though.
I mean, it's weird because we, you look at the history. Iran is Persia. That's what it is. That's Persian. Persians. Um, they ain't Arabs. They don't claim to be Arabs. Um, and they are also letting their wrath be on Arabs too, in retaliation or response to what is taking place. Not necessarily Arabs, but Arab held U.S. installments, in other words. They doing their thing over there in the Middle East, far as letting it be known we ain't tolerating this shit. But um, that being said, that's a different monster. There's a lot of factors that's starting to come out now about the attacks. Of course, when you look at commercial news, they always just going to throw out the typical, oh, they're tearing up Iran, it's fire through the sky. People heard this, but they're not necessarily talking about what Iran is letting loose on other people and Israel. And to get back to it with Israel, you're right. They want to be the force in that area of the planet with a nuke, and seeing another group of people with a nuke who will drop it on them if they got one. You know, um, they got them in a they. I'm sort of shocked. I don't see Russia and I don't see China. Haven't heard anything from them majorly. Like, I mean, I know China has condemned it, Russia has condemned the attack and the assassination of the former supreme minister. But um, I would I would have thought I would have seen a response from them a little faster,
I
or
just say
if
this,
at all.
and I could be wrong, but real G's move in silence. You
True.
know what I'm saying? So I
True.
mean, one thing Iran, of course, Iran is alleged to have these very large depots of ammunition hidden away in like mountain bunkers that's unreachable. But also they have, supply lines. You know what I'm saying? Like I was looking at
Mm-hmm.
the map the other day, really trying to get my research on, and just seeing, they share, they damn near share a long border with Russia. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Given that water, of course, there's that water right there. But
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's nothing America can do to stop, the shipment of whatever type of goods between Russia and Iran. There's nothing that the U.S. could do to stop that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I'll stop there. Stan, you got anything?
I will say with Russia, I think a big factor in them not getting super, you know, involved on behalf of Iran is probably also part of the like Netanyahu and Putin is close. They, they're not adversaries or anything. 1/4 of Israel's population are native Russian speakers with dual citizenship because of where a lot of those Israelis came from.
Okay.
So, like Putin has a Chabad Lubavitch rabbi himself. Like he goes to the wall and does the thing with the little hat on, and like there's a lot of ties between Russia and Israel. Like family, like people is both Israeli and Russian. So,
Yeah.
I think he Iran's his ally, and he's going to support them trade wise if they need stuff. But I can't see him getting involved like the same way he would if it wasn't Israel, just because of that. And and China, I think.
Hold on, just real quick, Slam. We got to. I mean, just staying on Russia now. I'm seeing a lot of this in Western media, so we got to take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, if Russia is truly sharing intelligence with Iran about U.S. military targets, that I mean, that is, I would say, a significant contribution to the struggle. It might not be the most direct, it might not be boots on the ground, but it's significant. So,
But I'll say too, you got to see what they did in Syria. That was one of their staunch allies was Assad. As soon as the takeover of Assad's government happened, Russia is right now openly working with the new guys, just as long as they can keep their bases in Syria. So I think that they wouldn't be like averse to working with a new Iranian regime if it was to fall, like type shit. I don't know. Like I think they will help Iran while it's standing, but if it were to fall, I don't think they're going to be in there on the ground fighting to prevent it from falling, like physically type shit.
I mean, we could even use, say for instance, the example, because now that you mentioned that, Slank, we can use the example of Maduro in Venezuela.
Yeah, that's one of their allies too, and they didn't, go straight out. Yeah, basically they could have done probably more if they wanted to help secure that situation, but I don't know.
I mean, Putin, but Putin play a dirty. He play a rough game. So I mean, just to see and to be able to, we gotta get a little more time on it. This only been going on for about a week and a half now. But
I think one thing we can say for sure about Russia, that their number one concern is the continued sovereignty of Russia. Like that's their. We can rest assured that that's their number one concern. Even while we're trying to weigh their anti-imperialist, allegiances. You know what I'm saying? Without all the information.
And same thing with China. Like even while China, supports Iran, they're going to make statements, condemning the attacks. They do business with Israel as well. They built the whole light rail system in Israel that they ride around. China owns a Chinese company called Sipjig, runs the biggest port in Israel in Haifa. And so a lot of the shipping traffic in and out of Israel is Chinese company controlled. And a lot of those companies are, partially state owned, things like that. So, and they also do a lot of business with the U.S. As much as China and the U.S. yell at each other about how they don't like each other, half the shit that gets imported into the U.S. is made in China type shit. So I feel like it's the same kind of situation where they're going to put, their country's interests first while still trying to give as much support to their allies as they can. It's a balancing game. You know what I'm saying? It's a good, yeah.
If
Yeah.
anything, maybe us new Africans can just learn from putting our own interests first.
Yeah.
Maybe that if there's any takeaway we can get from this, just playing armchair over here, it's that one.
You know, that's real.
Yeah.
I say this though. What y'all think about Iran's response?
They
I
got them in
mean,
shelters in Tel Aviv. You know, I seen them hitting. I think they hit one of the airports in Israel the other day, and they've been hitting U.S. military bases in different parts, like you said, by I don't know what the UAE or Qatar, one of them countries. They hit some U.S. bases, and I think seven troops from the U.S. have already died. They had their coffin stacked like plywood on the back of a truck earlier, and people was mad about that because they instead of I don't know they basically gave Charlie Kirk more of like a ceremonial funeral than they had these dudes that they just had die for Israel get type shit. But yeah.
I mean, I've been peeping people. Some people they've been throwing out their little various different strategies about what they think. But I will say this, as I said earlier, they striking a couple of not Arab countries, but you can say that, but they're striking U.S. held military bases and installments in some of these countries around United Arab Emirates. I think they tried to fire one off of Saudi Arabia. It got blocked. Qatar, they've been trying to neutralize. I'm thinking that this is probably their strategy. They've been trying to neutralize the gateways of help for the United States within these countries. They also closed down the Straits of Hormuz. So we're talking about a good bit of oil comes through that. And we've already seen some of the heightening in gas prices that's been going up because Iran, of course, produces a lot of gas, and it's funny that you hearing people in the cabinet talking about, well, they're bombing, but they're bombing the gas. Don't bomb the gas.
I got an early prediction on this front because if you look today at the news, gas price the cost of a barrel of oil actually like plummeted today. Like it went down by as much as it went up over the past week or two. Oil price down.
Yeah, I think it went up real high today, and then it was down by the afternoon, like a lot lower than some shit.
So I'm guessing my prediction is just saying that this is in reaction to Trump earlier today saying that the war is actually going to end very soon. You know what I'm saying? He came out and said that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? That we're about to wrap things. It's about to end very soon. And this is, of course, a flying contradiction to everything that he said before. It doesn't have to follow a logical path for Trump. It just has to react to his interests in that moment. You know what I'm saying? So I would also say that it's possible that the U.S. or Trump even bought the oil when it dipped like this, knowing that the war is going to prolong and rise right back up and exceed where it was even before the dip. You know what I'm saying?
Sounds like a United States move.
Yeah, it sounds like a capitalist move for sure.
And that whole, I think we were talking about this the other day, Sonny. How I feel like that Venezuela play was all kind of like a preparation for this, so they would have that supply of oil ready to go when they knew they was about to fuck shit up over in the Middle East.
Yeah, and there's definitely stuff about shipping oil. There was a shipment of oil from Venezuela to Cuba that was unprecedented in some way. I don't think it ended up making it. So there's a lot going on with Venezuelan oil right now that definitely more than what we're going to look into this episode, but definitely something to keep our eyes on.
Most definitely.
If we want to go back briefly to talk about some more of this, feminist justification for the war, we have here Vic Mensa, Chicago rapper. And this video went around. A lot of people reacted to it. I was just one of many. I'll play it real quick for those that ain't seen it, and then we'll continue. So that's the gist of his argument. We can actually go to a Substack right here and actually see a little bit more where he kind of lays this out. You know, for whatever reason, he's writing on the Substack about the Iranian war. And let's see, I know somewhere, you know, where he talks about Iranian women deserve freedom, but bombs are not feminism. You know, for me, this is, you know, clearly, you know, showing, you know, a lot of the signposts of you know, a State Department type reading of the situation. I think kind of speaking to what Slank, what you were speaking on earlier, the you know, of course he said he opposes imperialist violence, but he still does not oppose this idea that Iranian women deserve this Western feminism, you know, and even this feminist intervention. If we go back to Fanon's Algeria Unveiled, we'll see that, you know, the first act of colonial warfare is this, you know, attempt to convince, you know, colonized women that their men are against them, right? That they're in need of this feminist intervention. So we have here Vic Mensa. He says he does not support the second and third acts of colonial warfare, but he does support the first act. If we use a Fanonian lens, you know, that's the interpretation we have to come to with this type of argument. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's just
Um,
gonna be it's gonna be a part of the propaganda that they use to pitch it to the American people for justification of the war and to try to rally up support of the war. Uh, the
mhm.
feminists use the feminist perspective. I think they're gonna try to use that probably to appeal to the sentiments of the American people.
Yeah, you see some responses here. We got para power mapping. I was starting to expect better from you. Now is not the time for moralizing. Let's focus on the pedocratic little St. James Imperium at home that's currently trying to add an Iranian genocide to the Palestinian Mountain of Skulls. I thought that was put very vividly. You know what I'm
Very.
saying? We have Red Legend here. How did you draw the conclusion that the Islamic Republic of Iran is an oppressive dictatorship? It's counterintuitive to critique nonsensical American propaganda by using nonsensical American propaganda. And that's of course, my overall point as well. Uh, Again, we have another user here, Vox Uma. The Islamic Republic of Iran is not an oppressive regime. It has been smeared with that term for 47 years for the crime of pursuing sovereignty and rejecting imperialism. So I'll pause there. Those are arguments I agree with. You see my likes and reposts there. Of course, I had even a longer response to this that we'll get into. But you know, I'll pause there. You know, what do y'all make of Vic Mensa's words? You know, or these responses?
Yeah.
I mean,
No, State Department shit, like you were saying.
Word. No, facts. And just to keep it moving, let me pull up these videos real quick of the streets of Iran, you know, actually reacting to some of this news, right? Let me get this going. So this is was filmed last night in Tehran. Uh Iranians reacting to the new supreme leader Ayatollah Mojtaba Khamenei being elected. You see right there. Is this a place in need of Western feminist intervention?
Hmm.
The killing of thousands and thousands of people, the dropping of bombs. Is that what we're seeing? You know, or are we gonna say no? Our eyes are lying to us, and we're just believe Trump. We will believe the Epstein class, their State Department, and that's why it's despicable that Vic Mensa, took that narrative that he did, that line of thinking that he did.
I mean, it's only right that you would hear somebody, spout that type of stuff out. I mean, when I looked in that video, it didn't look like I seen any oppression or anything of that such nature. You know, the women looked like they was free enough to be out there in the streets protesting. You know, so like he said, Western propaganda. They have to. The propaganda. One of the ways they use it is to paint a narrative in a way that's appealing to their people to justify it. And you're gonna get people out here gonna be saying crazy shit like that, uh, uh, trying to agitate uh, a certain sector of the country or the government, but let alone to um, even justify for themselves. They support that regime. That's why nationhood is important. It distinguishes you from what these other guys just do. If you got your own government, you can say, I don't support that. Right now, though, we don't have that, so we have to deal in the means of spreading the word as best as we can. But they don't seem like they oppressed at all. Didn't look like it to me, Aki.
And one thing I noticed too, if you were to just watch Vic Mensa's video and not know anything about Iran, never seen nothing, you would think that the women are forced to wear like the full, I think it's called like a niqab, or you know what I'm saying, where you can just see the eyes
Yeah.
only. We could just see in that video, you can see the women's hair out. That's just not their. They'll have like a, you know what I'm saying, like a hijab that covers part of their hair, not like the whole thing or anything. So like he was saying, for the women to wear their hair out, that needs to be freedom. Like these women got the front of their hair out. For some of them, I can see at least in the video. So he's just kind of misrepresenting. You know, they got modern clothes on and shit. It's not like they're like
It's like the way they used to do in the '80s when they used to show us the videos of Africa and the kids with the flies on their eyes and starving and stuff. They show you pictures of Iran from 1979,
Real
from
quick.
a way more conservative time. Now, are there places in Iran that has that? Yeah, but those are mostly in the rural and more um, religiously, you know, segment of society. But you don't generally see that going on. I done met a lot of Iranians here, and you didn't even know they was Iranian. So, I mean,
And
yeah,
I'll just say, and I'm sure that there's problems in their community along gender lines, just like there is in ours, but it's none of our business to intervene on a militaristic level in their society, which is
true,
just going to cause more problems.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
definitely true.
And what we can clearly see is that things have been misrepresented to us in a propagandistic way to support U.S. imperialism, and we got stooges like Vic Mensa that go along with it.
yeah, and saying the exact same lines that the U.S. government and is using to justify their bombs. He's saying, "I agree with that, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's not gonna cut it. That's fucked up."
So I think that we might have something new that's about to. So Aki, I don't think Aki knows that I wrote an actual song in response to Vic Mensa's bullshit here. Did you know that, Aki?
No,
I
I
never,
did
I
not know
never,
that.
I never sent it to you.
Yeah, I never knew that.
And did
Yeah.
you
So,
know that Vic Mensa wears Confederate dresses? Also, that's another key aspect of this.
oh yeah, I don't know if you see the cover I
Yeah, I
used.
see that, Aki, and
Ye- Yes.
yeah, see, you know what I'm saying, and then people get out here and
Uh,
this nigga got a goddamn Confederate flag.
Play it, and then we'll get your live thoughts on it. I'll play it. Yeah, yeah. We gonna do it like this, man. Pay attention. Yeah. Come on, Vic. I remember bumping internet tape. Now you hit the internet and read the script in bad taste. Now I got a pass on you like I sniffed a bad plate. You read that bell hooks to put your politic in sad state. I will take it there. Spells broken when the glass break. Hit the fake Muslim on Ramadan to cause a fast break. All them real niggas, you ratted on you in the last place. You getting drag pussy shoulder for another drag race. You wearing drag now? Guess you really in the bad place. Put that flag down cause you embarrassing the black race. Rock Nation deal signed you when you caught a bad case. How'd that work out? Packed like you got some bad weight. Them the facts got you stressing, yeah I see it. We don't need you for the news cause you sound like Europeans. Yeah you talk like us but you got your facts from Europeans. Ashkenazi pride touch your body, it's okay. You talking about regime change, I guess you heard the play that they say when it's time for power moves and spraying K's. Don't repeat the shit they say, that's if you still solid. Innocent kids getting killed about it, somehow they still sprouted. Rest in peace to Ayatollah. If we seen that slick shit, you was on, bro. I peeped it. Come on, Vic. I remember you was just a yay clone. Where have the days gone? Now you pay to play along. Step into your home, steal your fans and dip while feeling calm. Is this feeling wrong? That real deep inside you feel this song. Hold up, it's just the facts. Hit this track like Coliseum. And you know I'm eating good. Do it all without per diem. On the road, hit Chicago, stick to codes, how I see them. I battle foes that your mind cannot perceive. Till you awake within and see the real, no make believe. Some rappers just be rapping so they handlers is pleased. Some rappers just be acting, reenacting what they see. I can't tell which one is Vic, still I roll them up in trees. Hold up. Some rappers just be rapping so they handlers is pleased. Some rappers just be actors, reenacting what they see.
Of course, I mean I like the song. You know, the song was definitely on point. It's ironically that somebody like you seen that. I'm like, I need to make a song about this Negro right here. This nigga need a song. He needs a song. Somebody need to tell him about his damn self. You know,
My feeling was I can use the moment just as a pedagogical tool, I was going to use it as a teaching tool, you know what I'm saying? Teach people, one, maybe a cultural standard that, you know what I'm saying, we don't go along with that type of narrative. But also, yeah, I don't know, just show people, just represent something for people, you know what I'm saying? Make people reflect on something, you know what I'm saying? Something
because called out on site.
Because what he presented was so easy to go along with. It was so easy to go along with. What Vic Mensa proposed is much easier to go along with than what we're proposing.
Mm-hmm.
An anti-imperialist stance is much harder to go along with in this society. You know what I'm saying?
Especially when it's blatant and outright. You know, this is a total imperialist attack on a sovereign country or a country's or a nation's sovereignty. Very much open, doesn't provoke this. Niggas wasn't going back and forth with each other on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? There was no issues there that we could openly see as far as, like a conflict that will warrant a joint attack. I personally believe that Trump is just been getting fed all types of fuckery. No, first of all, not to make no innocent on him. He crazy as fuck. We already know what Trump is. We already know what Trump about. I think the man is old. He's senile, and he feel like he has a place in history, and he wants to leave his mark in history. But I think Netanyahu is probably the more dangerous one right now. Because I think he was in that ear. Throwing this shit out there. Now they scrambling because I don't think it necessarily went the way they wanted it to go. And so now you got people like your boy coming up with narratives like this, like I said, to try to justify it and make it rational to the people when it's a totally irrational concept. When you have the anti-imperialist stance, there's no way you can really source this shit out and say it's this or that. No, you just went and invaded the country sovereign. They wasn't crying to you about they women having to wear hijab. They not crying to you about that. That's some problem your ass got. And that's sort of something we got to one day talk about, how America tries to push its Westernism on other sovereign countries and nations across the planet as if it's the right way. They're trying to eliminate cultures.
Master with the economic warfare
Yeah.
to create justifications. Like they'll put sanctions on the country, like
Yeah.
we see with Cuba, Iran, and then a protest will happen or something. A lot of the protesters are probably, U.S. agents and shit like that anyway. But then they'll focus on that protest as a reason why, oh, their economy is so bad, people are in the streets, the U.S. must go in there now, type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me pull up the article. Oh, you got it right there. Never mind. Yeah. So basically, I found an article from 1960. I believe I was on the Nation of Islam research groups. They got a little archive with a bunch of just old articles and shit. I go through there from now and again, and I found this very interesting one. And people were asking Grok and shit, is this real Grok? And then Grok was like, yeah, it's real. So Grok, even the fucking AI, even said there was another New York Times article talking about the same speech. But basically in 1960, we got an article from the Observer. I think it's from like Mount Vernon, New York, somewhere in New York, and the Westchester Observer or something. But the article is called "Negroes Who Urge Buy Black Are Anti-Semitic." That's a quote from a guy named Braverman. So there was a guy named Braverman, Harold Braverman, I think, Harry, something like that. He was the national discrimination director for the ADL back in the 60s. And he went to a majority black audience at Fisk University in Tennessee, Nashville. And he told them that all the black people that he's seen that were urging people to buy black, or any kind of nationalists that were saying, support black businesses, things that we still do today, that, is pretty much, a pretty fundamental concept within, black nationalism. Not even people that are staunch nationalists will, want to support black businesses. But Harold Braverman of the ADL, a Jewish fellow, he said that if you support black businesses, you are anti-Semitic, because Jewish businessmen currently in 1960, I guess, he said, especially in the northern cities, control most of the businesses in the black community. So any kind of support black business campaign would by default boycott Jewish businessmen, hurt their profits, and is thus anti-Semitic. Basically, it is black people's duty to spend their money with Jewish businessmen, is what Harold Braverman was of the ADL, Anti-Defamation League, was telling this audience. So so now everybody, if you support black businesses, you ADL would classify that as anti-Semitism. Be forced to go to like a Chabad Lubavitch re-education camp or something. I don't know what they do. Yeah. And Malcolm X had a lot of stuff where he was calling out the similar. I don't know if he talked about this exact speech, but he called out, just the fact that white supremacists, Zionists, all these different white groups just really hate black self-determination. Not even just on the economic level, like it seems like Braverman's going at, but just on a fundamental level, they hate to see the, black people build things for themselves, do for self. And you got the ADL literally telling black people that want to do for self that if you do it, you're anti their group, even though they probably support all the Jewish businesses, but that's cool. But, we can't do that.
I mean, I know, and it's funny too, because, a lot of times when people talk about, Black Americans, New Africans, and what we need to do, they always a lot of times throw up what the Jewish community does or how they move. And I'm not necessarily against that because they move cutthroat. They put the interests of their nation first. Problem is that they exploit other people's, but that exploitation is something that's been left open by the United States, and how they deal with us and building legitimate, essential businesses and needs within our community and things of that such nature. Definitely not lying, because up north, you'll be surprised how many blocks in the hood Jews own. It's just that the person they have come and collect the rent is white, or look very white. At one point in time, they owned like about 60% of the small grocery stores in the black communities on the East Coast. Talking Baltimore, New York, places like that. It's since changed, but that's how deep and entrenched they were in there.
Yeah, and in the South too, a lot of the department stores and lunch counters, a lot of the places that were fundamental in the desegregation movements and the sit-in movements were Jewish lunch counters, Jewish department stores. Uh, you know, there was one, for instance, in Atlanta called Loeb's that was pretty fundamental because Harry Belafonte tried to go there and he was denied service. And I forget, I believe it was like 1964 maybe, but it became like a big cause. Martin Luther King went down there. There was protests outside of Loeb's restaurant in Atlanta. And Loeb said in the newspaper article I read about it, I can't be racist. I'm Jewish. It would hurt business if I let the blacks come in here. So I can't do, like, he was on some shit like that. Like, I'm not racist. I'm Jewish. No, not me. It's economics. But yeah, like, and this also counters a lot of that. Like, Jewish people were always friends of the civil rights movement, and they push that a lot. So like we got right here article from the 1960s when we're trying to build up black businesses and kind of improve the black community, the standing of the black community. We're getting told by these friends of the civil rights movement, one of their leading organizations, the ADL, that our efforts are anti-Semitic. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, the Shabbos Goy. It's on the Sabbath you can't do labor, so they hire a non-Jew to turn off the lights, sweep up, do little chores. Yeah.
Where they do that at?
Oh man, here we go. So they do that in America. Like it's called a Shabbos Goy. They'll have a goy, a goyim non-Jew who comes around and does all the chores from Friday evenings through Saturdays. And in fact, some of the most prominent black men in America in the white power structure did this rite of passage, did this humiliation ritual. Colin Powell talks about, they call him Coley, by the way, all the Jewish men, that they used to give him a few quarters on the weekends to do all their chores. And he speaks like Yiddish and shit before he died, and was a very friend of the Jewish community, very good friend of the Jewish community because of his time, his service as a Shabbos Goy in his youth. And Thurgood Marshall also served as a Shabbos Goy in his youth for a few quarters from old Jewish men. He would sweep up and, turn the lights off and be their butler on the weekends. And so much so that when he had an intern coming to work for him or something as a clerk, it was a Jewish intern, he was like, "Yes, sir, I can't work on this holiday. And Thurgood Marshall said, "Oh, you forgot this one, and this one," and started speaking Yiddish to him and shit. Then you got Barack Obama when Barack Obama was a state senator in '99, not even a young kid looking for a couple quarters or whatever, full grown man, state senator. One of his office mates was Silverstein or some shit like that, who was an observant Jewish man, and Obama would be his Shabbos Goy on the weekends, turn off his lights and clean up and help him out.
Yeah.
Probably make him a sandwich.
I'm learning from Times of Israel. Elvis was another famous Shabbos Goy.
Yeah, they put his record on the charts after that. You know what I'm saying? it's a rite of passage for this.
So
Yeah,
here's
I don't
here's a
know.
quote right here. On the Sabbath, if I ever needed anything, Barack would always offer. Al Gore, Harry Truman. Okay. See, we learn something new every day. Okay.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
But with that, y'all, I'm gonna pass it to either one of y'all. Any last words we want to give folks for the end of this episode? Anything you want to say?
Check out Nation Time 4.
Definitely, yeah.
Don't trust everything you hear in the news. Do your own research.
Yeah, and shouts out Dominican Republic. They eliminated Israel today in the World Baseball Classic, so that's good news. 10-1. Fun fact: Israel's entire team, besides one player, was born in the USA because it's basically the scrubs that couldn't make the U.S. team. Said, I'm part Jewish. I'll play for Israel, and they got smoked. So, good news. Hopefully, similar outcome in this war coming up.
Shout out to the DRC.
Yes, sir.
Oh, my bad. I was looking through this earlier, Slank, when you posted it. That shit's so crazy, bro. Every single team member, bro.
Yeah, every single player there's one guy on Team Israel that was actually born in Israel. The rest of them are from the U.S. I think their best player is half Italian.
Okay, here we go. Yeah,
that's how they're doing it. They just
shit funny.
Don't got the talent they self, so they leasing the talent out. They rent talent.
I think most of them are Jewish Americans. So like because any Jewish person can get citizenship in Israel, they're eligible to play for Team Israel or some stupid shit like that. And I guess Israel just is not good at baseball, or I don't know what sport they're good at over there, but like
I think they play soccer too.
Yeah, maybe.
Soccer
but
team.
even the American Jewish players ain't like the best Jewish American player is playing for Team USA right now. He ain't even on. He don't want no part of that shit. Like, fuck that.
So the last thing that we're gonna say is take the unders on Israeli baseball every time. Like,
yeah, every time especially if they're playing the Dominicans, the Venezuelans. Nah, bro.
Cubans, maybe. Yeah, they love baseball down there.
Yeah, they ain't gonna win none of that shit.
So with that, y'all. Thanks y'all for tuning in, episode 115. Yeah, catch y'all next time. Peace.